The angel who guards the abyss has a terrifying name. In the final days, there's a prison said to hold the most feared beings in all of creation, and prophecy says its gates will be unlocked. But who holds the key? The Bible points to a king, an angel who rules over the bottomless pit, an angel with a name that means the destroyer. This is the story of Abaddon, the terrifying guardian of the abyss and commander of a demonic army waiting to be unleashed upon the world. Ancient scriptures talk about a place of absolute confinement. It's a spiritual prison reserved not for human souls, but for entities far older and more powerful. They call it the abyss, or the bottomless pit, a realm of darkness and chains, a holding cell for rebellious spirits awaiting a final, terrible judgment. Texts outside the Bible, like the Book of Enoch, say some of these prisoners are the infamous Watchers, angels who rebelled against God in ancient times, corrupting humanity and unleashing chaos on the earth. For their crimes, they were bound and thrown into this abyss, a place of torment so feared that even demons begged Jesus not to be sent there. But this prison wasn't built to hold its captives forever. Prophecy foretells a day when the gates will be thrown open, and when that day comes, the world is going to meet its warden. Section 1. The Old Testament Roots, a place of destruction. Before we meet the terrifying angel of the abyss, we first have to understand his name. And to do that, we need to go back to the Old Testament, where Abaddon wasn't a person, but a place. The Hebrew word Abaddon means destruction or doom. It only shows up a handful of times, almost always paired with Sheol, the shadowy realm of the dead. In the book of Job, in the middle of a stunning passage about God's all-knowing power, Job says, "Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no covering." The meaning is clear. Even the most hidden and destructive places in existence can't hide from their creator. Here, Abaddon is a dimension of pure ruin, a state of finality and decay that lies completely exposed before the divine. The Psalms echo this idea. In Psalm 88, a cry of complete despair, the psalmist asks, "Will your loving kindness be declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in Abaddon?" Abaddon is presented as the ultimate symbol of hopelessness, a place so defined by destruction, it seems beyond the reach of God's grace. Proverbs links it with Sheol again, warning that Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and never satisfied are the eyes of man, turning destruction itself into a force with an insatiable appetite. In these ancient texts, Abaddon is the very concept of ruin, a bottomless pit of destruction from which nothing returns. For centuries, that's all it was, a name for the grave, a synonym for total annihilation. But this was only the first chapter of its story. Because in the final book of the Bible, this place of destruction would be given a face, a title, and a terrifying purpose. The name of a place would become the name of a king. Section 2. The Revelation, the Angel King. The book of Revelation pulls back the curtain on the cosmic conflicts of the end times. As the Apostle John describes a series of catastrophic judgments poured out on the earth, we come to the fifth trumpet. And what happens next is one of the most chilling sequences in all of Scripture. John writes, "Then the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from heaven to earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit." This star, often interpreted as a powerful angelic being, uses the key to unlock the abyss. The result is immediate and terrifying. A column of smoke, like the smoke from a massive furnace, billows out from the opening, so thick that it darkens the sun and the sky. But it's not just smoke that comes out of this supernatural prison. Out of the smoke comes a swarm of demonic locusts. These aren't ordinary insects. John takes great care to describe their grotesque and terrifying appearance. They look like horses armored for battle. On their heads are what seem to be crowns of gold, and their faces look disturbingly human. They have hair like a woman's and teeth like a lion's. They wear breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings is like the thunder of countless horses and chariots rushing into a fight. And worst of all, they have tails with stingers like scorpions, and with these, they're given a single, horrifying mission. They are commanded not to harm any of the earth's vegetation, but only the people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Their goal isn't to kill, but to inflict 5 months of agonizing torment. The pain they cause is compared to a scorpion's sting, so excruciating that people will long for death, but death will run from them. This is an army of pure torment, unleashed from the prison of the damned. And an army this organized needs a commander. In Revelation 9:11, John finally reveals his identity. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek, Apollyon. The name is given in both Hebrew and Greek to show its importance for all of humanity, both Jew and Gentile. And both names mean the same dreadful thing: destruction and the destroyer. The place of ruin from the Old Testament now has a ruler. Abaddon is personified as the king of the demonic locusts, the angel warden of the bottomless pit, who commands this army of pain as part of God's final judgments on an unrepentant world. Section 3. The Great Debate. Angel, demon, or something else. So who or what is this angel king? The identity of Abaddon has been the subject of intense debate for centuries, and Scripture gives us clues that point to some compelling and unsettling possibilities. One common view is that Abaddon is a high-ranking fallen angel, a powerful demon under Satan's authority. People who hold this view point to his role as king over a demonic army and his dominion over the abyss, a known prison for fallen spirits. In the hierarchy of darkness, Abaddon would be a terrifying general, a prince of destruction. However, the Bible seems to make a clear distinction between him and Satan. Later in Revelation, a different angel is seen binding Satan and throwing him into the abyss. If Abaddon is the king of the abyss and Satan becomes its prisoner, they can't be the same being. This leads to a second, very different theory. What if Abaddon isn't a demon at all? What if he's a holy angel of God, tasked with carrying out divine judgment? This idea is based on the fact that Abaddon's actions are part of a divinely ordered sequence, started by the trumpets of God's own angels. The key to the abyss is given to the star, which implies the whole event is under God's sovereign control. In this view, Abaddon isn't an agent of chaos, but an instrument of God's wrath, a destroyer, just as other angels were sent to carry out judgment in biblical history. His terrifying name and role would simply highlight the awesome and fearsome nature of God's justice. A third possibility looks at the world in which the book of Revelation was written. Some scholars believe the Greek name Apollyon was a direct and subversive shot at the Greek god Apollo. Several Roman emperors, including the notoriously cruel Domitian, under whose reign John was likely exiled, styled themselves after Apollo. By naming the king of the demonic locusts Apollyon, John could have been sending a powerful message. The Roman Empire, which persecuted Christians and demanded emperor worship, was fundamentally demonic and ruled by a power from the pit itself. These ideas aren't necessarily at odds with each other. Abaddon could be a fallen angel, who is nevertheless used by God to fulfill his plan for judgment. His name could be both a nod to a demonic nature and a political critique of Rome. The ambiguity is part of what makes him so terrifying. He is a named power, a king of tormentors, and a key player in the prophetic timeline. Conclusion. From a shadowy reference to a place of ruin, the name Abaddon transforms into one of the most frightening figures in Revelation's apocalyptic vision. He's the angel of the bottomless pit, the king of a supernatural army, and the master of unimaginable torment. His name in 2 languages means the destroyer, a title he earns by commanding a plague of pure pain. While we can debate his exact identity, demon, holy angel, or political symbol, his role is terrifyingly clear. Abaddon is the warden of that ancient prison holding fallen spirits, and in the end times, he's the one who gets the key. He represents a kind of destruction so complete that it makes death itself look like a sweet relief. He's a stark reminder that in the cosmic battle between good and evil, there are powers whose only purpose is to unmake, to torment, and to destroy. The story of Abaddon serves as one of the Bible's most chilling warnings about the reality of judgment and the dark powers of the spiritual world. So what do you think? Is Abaddon an agent of God's wrath, or the ultimate embodiment of chaos itself? Let us know your theory in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into a dark corner of Scripture compelling, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more explorations into biblical mysteries. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to understand the prophecies of our time. Thanks for watching.